Ever wondered how the Tao language flexes its problem-solving muscles? Well, today we're diving into the process of writing a Tao program, step by step. The first step in the journey is defining the problem. In the world of programming, it's not enough to know what problem you're trying to solve. You need to understand it, to break it down into its fundamental pieces. This requires a good grasp of logic and a knack for analytical thinking. Next, translate the problem into well-formed formulas. These are the building blocks of any Tao program. Well-formed formulas, or WFFs, are expressions that represent logical statements. They can be simple, like X is true, or complex, with multiple variables and quantifiers. Now comes the fun part: integrating Boolean functions. These are the logical operations that drive the execution of a Tao program. They include and, or, and not operations, and they help determine the truth value of our well-formed formulas. Once we've got our Boolean functions in place, it's time to introduce variables. Variables in Tao represent entities in our problem space. They can take on a variety of values, which we'll use to evaluate our well-formed formulas. But what good are variables if they're not quantified? That's where quantifiers come in. Quantifiers specify the scope of our variables. They can be universal, meaning they apply to all entities, or existential, meaning they apply to at least one entity. And now, we're ready to assemble these components into a complete Tao program. This involves constructing a sequence of well-formed formulas, each driven by Boolean functions and bound by variables and quantifiers. This sequence, when executed, will solve the problem we initially defined. So, to recap, we started by defining a problem, then broke it down into well-formed formulas. We introduced Boolean functions to drive the logic of our program, and variables to represent entities in our problem space. We quantified these variables, then assembled everything into a complete Tao program. From this, we've seen how the Tao language leverages logic and analytical thinking to solve problems. It's a powerful tool in the programmer's arsenal, and one that will serve you well as you continue to hone your programming skills. So take these concepts, play around with them, and see what kind of magic you can create with Tao.